The Chesco Show.
All right, here we go. What's up, everybody? This week we have a music band for the first time.
Yeah.
Because so far we got artists, we got somebody working in the movie industry. So you're the first music group coming here.
Yeah.
All right.
So welcome, guys. So they are the Dreamboats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Dreamboats.
Yeah.
So this is Richie and Johnny. You are the drummer and you are the singer, right?
Play guitar. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So before we get into everything, let's start at the beginning. First of all, I got introduced to you guys by Trilly, who was one of the first guests.
Yeah.
And she's from Toronto, and you guys are also from Mississauga, right?
Yeah, Mississauga.
Canada.
Yeah.
And so how did you guys start this music group? I'm sure it's been a few years now, more than 7 years, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think we're
Almost double that.
We're
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're kind of 13 years into it right now.
Holy
if
shit.
you really break
you guys
it down.
look young. How old were you when you started? What year was that?
2009.
Oh, wow.
And I guess we'll make a long story short, but we all kind of played in different bands in Mississauga, which is right next to Toronto. And we got together one day to just have a fun little jam session. And the only songs that we all knew how to play were early Beatles songs and songs off of the La Bamba soundtrack and from Back to the Future, Johnny Be Good. We all
Popular pop culture 50s songs.
exactly. And we all independently knew the songs already. So it was kind of this natural thing where we're like, do you know Johnny Be Good? And the guitar player was like, yeah, I know how to play it. And I'm like, well, I know how to play it. And he just started singing. So it came about very naturally. That first jam session, I think it was a 13-hour day. We just played for 13 hours. I remember
went to
that.
Wow.
two different rehearsal spaces just for...
Wait, the first day you guys met, you played
first
for
day-
13 hours?
Yeah, the first day
Holy
I met this
shit.
guy was essentially the day the Dreamboats was formed. Our relationship as friends.
So did you guys fall in love and slept in the same
I
bed
called
that
him. I
night?
called him the day after.
Yeah.
Against the rules, of course. I'm just joking.
Yeah. He called me. He didn't wait the 3 days. He called me the next day after this epic jam day, which was so much fun. He called me. I remember getting a call and I was out on my porch. I was living at home at the time. And I remember just pacing around and I don't know, he was just like, hey man, do you want to start this band? We'll do a retro thing. We're going to wear vests and we're going to get the slow dances going for people in Toronto.
Because he played with the other players of the band initially. They were all in a band prior that I guess kind of disbanded maybe a couple years ago prior to that, but all were still friends. And then we all played together and I just felt like there was a unit right off the bat, but I definitely felt like there was a good connection between us just as from drummer to singer. And I knew that he was maybe just as crazy with the idea of loving 50s retro music as much as I was. So I definitely wanted to ask him and see if he'd be interested in doing this and starting it kind of thing. And
Wait, so how many people were jamming with you guys?
there were,
You
that day
four?
was 4 that day.
Technically, there was 5.
Five? Oh, yeah,
Rajiv.
5.
There
Yeah,
was a
yeah, yeah.
photographer there. He would also jam with us periodically, but it was essentially the 4 guys, which was the original lineup for 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were 3 at the beginning and now you're 4, right?
I'm sorry, it was 4 at the beginning, but it was a different 2 people off the bat. They were 2 guys that I used to play in a band with.
The Dreamboats is usually primarily four members we usually have in our band. Some coming and going, I guess you can say, but the Dreamboats usually 4, sometimes 5 actually these days.
We've done a few 5-piece. We have a sax guy we've been playing with now here in LA. But yeah, that's what the beauty of this band is, that it came about so naturally. We just all genuinely love this era of music. We loved the idea of these proms and wearing one of the first things we did. This guy's like, hey, I'm at Walmart. He's like, I see these matching gray vests. I'm going to buy them. And I'm like, buy them. We're just on that level. We're we need to be matching since day one.
And playing into the cheesy shit too, that the corny stuff from the 50s where we see a store, Le Chateau. I'm not sure you've heard of Le Chateau. Le Chateau, Canadian retail outlet. And we'd grab the matching burgundy velvet jackets. We're you'd be like, if the guy walked into bars wearing this, you'd be like, this is kind of questionable unless they're very fashion oriented.
Is the Chateau expensive?
Well,
we would go to the outlet one, so they were getting rid of all the styles that nobody wanted, and that was perfect for us.
Like the velvet, like purple,
like triple XL size.
No, there used to be a lot of various sizes, but we suited up. It's more or less like a velvet jacket of like the 50s, and we'd be going to these bars, and we're all like, 4 of us are wearing these velvet jackets. People would be looking at us having to be like, who the hell are these guys?
Yeah, we'd go to like these open mics. That's how we started. We would do open mics in our city, and we'd walk in. Like he said, we're like, okay, are we going in with the jackets? We're like, yeah, let's go in with the jackets. We're like,
so like 4 matching guys, like purple velvet jackets. We were just looking at
an open mic,
and then we just get up on stage. And we just like rip it up, and then people were just like, okay, I get it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's how it started, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and we never, at first with any kind of cool project that comes about naturally, we weren't saying we're going to do this and be this band and do it for the money. It was just literally, we like the idea of being in this band. I always say this was the band I was born to play in because I love that era ever since I was a kid.
Are you guys living from your music right
living
now?
Off of me? I mean,
nice.
Prior to the whole,
I mean, it's been a few years, right, since you live from your music. I'm guessing.
Yeah, we've been full-time Dreamboats for the past 6 years.
I think since 2016, I've been fully self-employed off just music industry alone, like doing some teaching. But then the more we just start performing, and then now we're just solely performance. I miss teaching a little bit, but right now we're just performing, and we have the business.
You were a teacher,
like a music teacher, private lessons, band programs, school stuff like that, music school kind of stuff. But then, we just right now we're living in Desert Hot Springs, like Palm Springs area, and the band just the business itself rents out a 4-bedroom house and has a trailer, and whatever we got to make, we make, and it's just it's like a business, run like a business here.
So did you come here with your trailer?
We came here with a trailer.
We bought a new one. We upgraded.
Yeah, we upgraded our old trailer. We've been having Thumper, rest in peace. Yeah. We had our old trailer, and it took a few bumps and bruises since moving down here. So we ended up getting a new trailer, which is a little more legitimate. A
little more safe.
A little more safe.
What do you mean safe? Like,
you can tell the other one was a little on its way. It was a little rusty.
It was rusty. We lost the wheel cover, so it was like for a while they were just spraying water off of one side whenever it rained.
So you had to complete your wheel before taking a ride.
Oh yeah, you definitely had to weld something there.
Yeah, we had to do an idiot check around the whole thing.
Hoping something doesn't fall off on the highway.
Yeah, essentially. So we're set up. We're making it.
And what were you doing before becoming like full-time musician?
I mean, I went to school. I went to University of Toronto. Then I did a 1-year course at Metalworks. It's a studio in Mississauga. I did entertainment business management, and then after that, I kind of jumped into my first band. I auditioned for a band called White Cowbell, Oklahoma. I knew the old drummer. They were a touring band, internationally touring band. I kind of did the audition on a bit of a whim, and I got the gig, which was crazy. So I went right from school to that band, but that was also the same time the Dreamboats were together. So I was kind of doing White Cowbell, Oklahoma, the Dreamboats, and then I worked at Casa Loma. It's a castle in Toronto, like a tourist spot. I worked there for 9 years. So that was it was a guy's mansion.
It's a castle. Like
it's a real castle.
Well, it was a mansion shaped like a castle. Yeah, it was one of the wealthiest guys in Toronto, Henry Pellet. And anyway, so I worked there. So that my world was just these 2 bands and working at a tourist spot in Toronto. And you?
Oh, just do private lessons. I was a musical director of a school, Rock Pro Music Center in Mississauga, and felt pride in starting that with my boss at the time, Cliff Calloway, rest in peace.
Yeah.
And it was just a great experience, kind of thing. And just, I got to be involved with the community and got to meet a lot of people. And it was nice. Like I see like my students getting older now, they're all taller than me. And you know what I mean? And some are playing music, some are just doing great things in life. And it's a rewarding experience kind of thing. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, you're living like your dream right now of like being a full-time, musician.
Yeah. So we're grinding it out.
Speaking of dreams, how did you come up with the name of the band, the Dreamboats?
I always say that I started the name. Johnny says he started the name. We have people that think I started it, and one person thinks the other started, the other original members of the band, but now they're swaying towards Johnny for whatever reason, which I have no idea why. But
yeah, we this is the eternal argument. Who came up with the name? I think it was me. He thinks it was
But how
him.
did it happen? Was it like a brainstorming session?
no, it's a phrase from when we used to play a lot of the open mics. We'd always, and still till this day, usually end with the song "Johnny Be Good." It's one of our favorites, and we got that song. We got influenced to play that song from the movie Back to the Future when Marty McFly plays the solo at the end there. And a scene from Back to the Future is Marty McFly is being chased on his skateboard by Biff, and everyone's watching Marty McFly get chased, and you see all the girls like all oohing and awing, and then one of the girls,
Well, his mom
in that case, turns around and looks over to her friend. She goes, "Oh my God, isn't he a dreamboat?" So we just kind of took this kind of reference, like a 50s reference of like the Dreamboats and as being like some cool dude, you know what I mean?
Like some dreamy guy. But mind you, we came up with that name, in our early 20s, and now it's like we're in our mid 30s, late 30s, and we're just rolling with the name.
Let's just put it this way. When we first started this band, like I said, we were in like different bands and fairly like in our situation, like established in those bands. And we came together with this band as just a love of the 50s. And it was kind of like a side kind of thing for us in the beginning, just having some fun. Like I was primarily a drummer in a band, and and a lot of my main like education is in the drums, and I look like I'm a drummer. Oh,
Yeah, I knew this guy's a drummer.
I just do this for fun. And the next thing you know, we're playing these gigs, and people are showing up to the gigs, and the venues are getting packed, and we're getting, offers for, certain events, and like it's making us money. And then all of a sudden this side project just became like the main thing. You know what I mean?
So how did you get started? Because I'm pretty sure it's hard to start and being a nobody to like selling out your shows and stuff like that. How did you do that?
I think it's just a reputation that has to kind of like precede you, and just, we always done our best. Johnny, I'm thankful in my situation, if I can speak selfishly, that I'm just so thankful that like everyone that I've ever played with in this band has just been like the greatest players I know personally. You know what I mean? And and thankfully, we've all, had our ways of performing and building that up. But I just think like when you have a combination of a good team with good chemistry, word gets around, you know what I mean? And that's, we started building this reputation in the area.
But we really built it like in the initial days, like we said, through the open mics. It's like we would go to these open mics. So we didn't have any show bookings. We were like, okay, there's this open mic. And sometimes there wouldn't even be a drum kit. We'd bring our own drums. So we'd be showing up matching with our own drums, and you had everyone playing acoustic or people talking open mic, comedy. And then we would come in and we'd only do 2 songs and the whole place would erupt. And then we'd be like, okay, see you later. And then we like get out of there. And then the owners would be like, I gotta get you in here. And we're like, okay, like let's do it. And then we would do the first night. They would pay us, we can only pay you, $250. And we're like, okay. Then they would be like, okay, you guys are the best band we've had. We need you back. We're gonna need a little more to make this work here. And then it just really built. But we would always deliver, like Richie was saying here. We would always put on a really good show, and it would be like, and that's something I always try to tell new bands. I feel like you have to have some kind of niche, some kind of angle with what you're doing, because if you're just another top 40 band, you're competing with a big pool. But
I'm guessing there's many bands doing like the same like vibes,
totally.
and the same kind of music.
And there's a lot of people doing the retro.
To stand out, man.
Yeah, and in LA and like in California, people are doing like the retro type of stuff and with various degrees of traditional. I feel like we're trying to push this a little bit. Like we have our traditional roots, sometimes we don't mind digging into the modern, but we don't like that aspect. And some people go the completely other way of just going completely traditional with it. But
the lifestyle, rockabilly, but we're not really like that.
As you can tell, even though but at the same time though, we love writing retro. We listen to a lot of retro music. We love writing love songs. We love writing music that's influenced in that era.
So do you write the songs together, or is it just you who writes them?
It depends.
Johnny's, I think, written just as many songs as I have, you know what I mean? Like brought them to the table and stuff like that. And like, it just depends. If you have an idea, we're very open to anyone who's in the project at the moment and what their ideas are. And we call it like just listening to a song idea, and we boatsify it, we call it, where we just make it into like the sound that we're trying to like do with still having the references of classic retro music, but like we don't mind putting like the modern touch with it, whether it's production or the type of lyrics and content that we're talking about. You know what I mean? Because a lot of that stuff now a lot of 50s and 60s references, if we kept on saying those, you'd think that they're probably cliche or redone, dated. So we try to keep those elements, but make it a little fresh. Yeah.
So when you write songs, is it always about like you guys, your love stories, or how do you come up with like ideas for songs?
I mean, recently,
is there like teams you always use, or like,
well, recently it's kind of been like that. Like, for example, the next single we're releasing is called Sweet Nothings. It's coming out a little later this month. And that one came about very naturally. Like, we all collaborated. Even Eric, our videographer here,
who's right there
off camera filming the whole thing. He was even involved with that too. And we all came together and we were just like, okay, well, we came up with this riff, and then we were like, well, what are we going to do with this? What's the theme going to be? And we were just like, a phrase that we've been saying the past couple of weeks had been these sweet nothings, someone talking to a girl and just telling them these kind of empty kind of promises. And so that term was on our mind. We're like, and Justin, our bass player, was like, hey, call it Sweet Nothings. We're like, okay, let's roll with that. Now, how are we going to kind of massage this into like lyrical content?
Like the name.
Sweet cool. Nothings. Yeah.
And just hearing melody, Johnny's coming up with a melody idea. I just kind of woke up and I like just giving it a little bit of a direction to go with it and stuff like that. But definitely the influences of like our favorite artists, I feel, have came in when these guys were writing the song together and started writing the instrumentals for it and stuff like that. And yeah, it just happens.
It happened. That one happened very quickly, and we just all kind of were vibing with it, and we recorded it quickly, the demo version. So sometimes that happens, and sometimes we're working on tracks. He'll have an idea, and it's kind of been in the back of everyone's heads for like a couple of years, even until we really bring it to the forefront. So I mean, you're an artist too.
You work on songs for like years.
Well, in my scenarios. It is.
We'll
put it this way: if it's not recorded, then it can always still be in constant development, right? And I've performed, so many different versions of some songs in many different capacities, and just when it comes down to the recording time, then you lay it down, and that's when it becomes, the official time it's released. But that idea, man, I've been sitting on one of the songs, like say, that we have on the EP coming out since like 2018, I think. I've been sitting like late 2018. Wow. So it's like, and then just now it comes into recorded, stamped into time kind of fruition. But at least in that case, I feel like I did everything I could with it. You know what I mean? I did everything I can't massage this any more than it's been massaged. There's a couple songs on the new EP as well that were like very, just get it out, write the lyrics, sing it, and that's the song, and it's done.
Yeah.
And like, so there's very really different degrees in it. Yeah.
But like, how do you work, as an artist? Do you, are you really like, I just get it done and that's it, and you sign it off, or do you really sit with things, or have you ever sat with things? Like, how do you work personally?
I mean, it really depends. But when I do paintings just for fun, like not a commission painting or not paid by a brand, sometimes I just have an idea. I start working on it. So I always start working on my paintings in Photoshop, and then I do the real painting. So sometimes I start working on the Photoshop version.
Okay.
I do it for like 1 day or 2 days, nonstop. Like I work like 12 hours each day on the painting. And then I stop completely for like months, and then I come back.
Come back to that painting?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, interesting.
So like, do you feel like there's a difference between like your artwork when you release it that's commission based as opposed to like your own personal thing?
Yeah,
like,
for sure. Because, I did a commission recently for a guy in, was it Spain? I don't want to, I'm not sure. Oh no, in Chicago, pardon me. And it was a painting of Stanley. So, he just told me I want a painting of Stanley. And I always do like portraits the same way. I just show the face and the shoulders.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty straightforward. I didn't really like think about it. I didn't try different things.
Exactly,
I just knew I had to paint the face, the shoulders, and then do something interesting in the background.
If that wasn't commissioned, do you feel like you would have done something different, or would you have maybe put more time into it?
Yeah. So when somebody wants something I've never done, I love it.
Nice.
I get bored easily, so I like doing different things.
Cool.
Learning about new things, and like the music industry. I'm not really familiar with all these stuff.
So neither am I.
So we're trying to get done here.
So it's really interesting to have you guys and learn more about that, because my girlfriend's really into music. She goes to a lot of open mics.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
I'd like to pick her brain on the open mics. I'd love to
I wish she was here, but the
Yeah.
dog was sick, so she's
We got
not
the
here.
connection, and the dog is family. We understand for sure. Yeah.
And she used to play the violin, and
Nice.
so she really loves music. She loves all kind of music. She listens to music all the time, and sometimes she shows me bands I've never heard of and I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
And she's really, really good with music. She has I wish she was here. I love you.
Honestly,
Next time.
you have to be committed to music to play the violin, because I know it takes like 3 years to even sound good.
That's a tough one. I tried it out once.
Yeah.
I was like,
But she doesn't play anymore.
But still,
She
she
used to
just
play.
did it
She's
before.
got it.
Yeah, she's
Sure.
got to just put the discipline. Like even some of my old students, like whether they play till this day, like a lot of them put the time in to get to like grade 10 piano at the Royal Conservatory and stuff. And it's just, you take music as far as you want.
How
in that
long does
moment.
it take to learn the piano? Because I want to
don't- I
learn an
couldn't tell you.
instrument.
yeah.
Johnny's been learning.
Never
lately
learned any
recently.
instrument.
John's
I'd
been
like to
going
learn the piano. How can I do that?
I'm not one to talk. I don't play piano. Eric plays the best piano out of here. But I think it's like, if it's anything like a guitar, in terms of learning chords, you want to be able to sit down and play a song. I think it's important to learn your chords. And then, just try and learn songs. You know what I mean? Try and just learn your favorite song by playing the chords. And then it'll just get you a little more proficient in switching chords. And because I don't like actually reading music personally,
When you start going there, it starts getting a little.
you have to follow. And
Yeah. I always look at like sometimes with the approaches when it comes to like when people are about to learn an instrument, they're like, okay, you got to learn the basic thing. And they like, it's like, just teach me a song so I can stay engaged here. Cause it's like, imagine you're in school and like you want to play basketball and you just want to get off that bench. You start slam dunking on this net. And then the coach is like, wait. Before you do that, you got to know some drills. You got to know the point and pick it. Like, I don't give a shit about the pick and roll. Just, I want to get the ball and I want to put in the net.
You got to get
I wanna
people
have some
feeling
fun.
good right off the bat.
off
So
the
learning
bat.
a song that's
Yeah.
maybe simple or something, I think is the best way to build your confidence. And that's how I
And
did it on guitar.
And then think of the theory after. Then approach the theory after when you want to dive a little deeper. But get there, play some songs, feel good. Do a song for your girlfriend. Try to use that goal to impress her on a
YouTube.
song. And
It's all about YouTube
You know what I
these
mean?
days.
Yeah.
I love it. So there's no like instructions, no go-to thing to do.
There is, and someone may argue this, and someone will, but our from drummers who turned guitar players, it's just learn the chords. You don't have to learn solos or anything yet. Just get the chords down. That's the kind of thing where you can pick up a guitar or go to a piano and say, okay, like I can make something happen here. As opposed to reading
have fun with it in the beginning, whatever degree that is, man. You know what I mean? Like just have fun with it, or else that thing's gonna collect dust at the corner of your room if you're not having fun with it.
And YouTube, they have so many great teachers on YouTube who just get you started. Just type in beginner, piano chords, and someone will teach you something.
We'll get you up on stage.
We got a couple months.
I'm ready. In 2 months?
I'm ready.
What size blazer are you?
38 regular.
That's
Excellent.
ours.
You're in. You're higher.
I can wear yours, and
It is. We have an
maybe
extra.
I'm gonna bump you out.
Yeah, I know.
It's just
I know.
gonna be
Hey,
us
man.
two, or
You
it
can
could be.
hey, if you can get to sing half these songs, I'll step to the side, man. I'm getting tired these days.
Of singing.
I'm just joking.
Oh.
I love singing. But we're having a pretty extensive schedule. This February has been pretty crazy.
So
man.
you're in Palm Springs?
Yeah, Palm Springs. Yeah, we're playing a lot.
So
in Palm
you just
Springs.
moved here. It's been you said like a year.
Yeah,
right?
we moved out here a year ago, January 8th of 2022. We drove our cars down here and
with all your stuff.
with all the stuff, with that old trailer. And we decided to have a go at it down here. We had been coming to California since 2017 for this festival called Modernism Week. It's a 50s
Yeah, I
and
saw
60s.
you did a video on Instagram yesterday. You were at the same
at the
place.
bank.
Yeah, the bank. Yeah, yeah.
That was
Did
the
your
first
first-
venue.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that was the first venue. So, and one of our mentors, one of the guys from Canada who got us down here, was always since day one. We flew down here in 2017. He was like, guys, why did you book a return flight? We're like, our visa. He's like, just make it happen. So, a little late in the game, but 2022, with COVID ending, our shows kept getting canceled in Canada and everything was
Why?
open down here because of the pandemic, COVID. We
Okay,
kept getting
got it.
everything canceled. And then we saw our friends out here were still playing. So we said, now's the time. So we packed up, we made the decision in November. And then January came, we were gone. And we've been back and forth periodically for some gigs at home for Christmas and the holidays, but we've been down here grinding it, rebuilding the business. At home, we do a lot of the big theater shows. And down here, it's kind of back to some of the smaller clubs and things like that. So it's been a humbling experience, but it's also just helped us grow in many ways.
And like just also having experience where this, whether this takes us, whether we continue over here, we continue in Europe or wherever we decide to go kind of thing. It's been awesome just being here and like really just surviving off playing music, literally just surviving off playing music.
Because from what you told me, it's like in Canada, you had lots of contacts and a big network.
Yeah.
And you were like getting shows by word of mouth and stuff like that. So by coming here, does it feel like it's starting from scratch?
Yeah.
It must be really hard.
It's hard because sometimes it's tempting. It's like, imagine having this beautiful, warm place that everyone, and so comfortable, and it's always calling you. It's always like, we got get, and we're over here and we're trying to make a stab at it. But we realized that every time we went back and we got tempted to go back and take those good money, like gigs back home,
Canada,
something nice gets offered over here in LA, and we were asking ourselves, what are we here for? What are we doing?
And even like for an example though of how this is kind of the reality of this though, is that we spent our first summer in Palm Springs. We were in Palm Desert. It's the same area. It's the desert. So it's not LA. We're in a desert, and everyone says it gets really hot there in the summer. We're like, yeah, we'll be fine. And it slows down. So we spent our first year in the desert, and we had so many offers, like Richie was saying, back home in Canada. We had the CNE, all the festivals, the Rip, all that stuff. And we're like, no.
The Canadian National Exhibition.
Yeah, the CNE. We used to play that every year. Wow. Great show. And they treat us well. And we said no to everything. And then it was like, we had a handful of gigs in the summer, and we were like, okay, this is hot. We should have gone back. But you know what? By staying there. Because
if you want to go back, do you have like to get your trailer and do all the rides, or you just take a plane? And
we take a plane. We have a second set of gear there, and we've acquired gear down here. So it's not necessarily hard, but we told ourselves, we're like, well, we're down here now, so we're staying. We got to say no to like grow. But it's like when you're actually in that position, you're like, oh, maybe we should have. But there were silver linings to staying the summer here. We got to meet new people, and we got to really see who the residents are. Palm Springs there's a lot of snowbirds from Canada that come during the season. So when they're all gone, you kind of see who the real people in town are. So there's a lot of silver linings. I try to remind myself that there are a lot of ups and downs in this endeavor of moving here. And
how far is it? Is Palm Springs from here? Is it like 2 hours?
2.5 hours with traffic. So
it's kind of far.
Not too bad. No,
it's far,
but if you want to do a show here,
a
lot of road, and it must be exhausting.
It is, but
for just one night, for example.
Definitely. But we're so used to it now. I know that sounds weird, but like Richie was saying, in the past 2 weeks, we played Modernism Week. We had 6 shows in 7 days. Then on the 7th day, we flew back to Canada to reset our visa. Our flight got canceled. So we got to Toronto. We said hi to our families. We were there for under 48 hours. Flew right back here. Then we had 4 shows in 3 days.
Back to back.
How come in 3 days 4 shows? One in like the noon.
We played a private event at like the Rancho La Quinta.
One day,
the Friday, and then the Saturday, I had to do like an Elvis tribute show at the casino.
Our casino
like this big, promoted well. And then we rushed over to Redlands, an hour drive away, to go play one of our good friends or supporters. She asked us to play her special day, her wedding. So we played that. Then we drove back. We got home at 2:30 a.m. I fell asleep by 3:30. We had to go the following Sunday, 6:30 a.m. sound check to be performing for 8:30 a.m. for the festival, LGBT festival in Cathedral City. Big festival there held by the city. It's just, this is the kind of,
and we can't say no. Although I'm starting to realize we have to say no, because it's like, that's like too much. It's too much, but
you're still performing
you want to be coming in. It's like, we're rushing to every gig and people are waiting. We're just like plugging things in. It's like, you don't even have time to write
just like I did right there.
You were fine. That looked like a,
because before they came in, I just, so people know, I had to set up everything, and they just watched me set up the whole thing.
He wasn't rushing. He was doing it. He was doing it comfortably. It looked good. It was perfect time. Perfect time.
We get it.
Yeah, they just looked at me setting up lights for like 20 minutes.
No, all you can do is just sit there and be like, is there anything I can do? Let me know and I will do it for you. No problem. Yeah.
Yes.
We're big helps. We understand. We know it's a gig.
I'm sure.
But yeah, it's been an experience being down here, you know.
So what's the hardest thing? Is it to find like shows to do? And
the hardest,
I mean, I'm sure it is, but how do you do that in here since you moved here?
Well, yeah, I was going to say the hard thing is always finding like a happy balance, because it's like you can do 5 gigs in a week, and if they all pay, you know, $1,000, that's $5,000. But sometimes you can get one gig that's $5,000, and it has more, you know, exposure, more of this. So it's hard kind of finding the right
price
gigs.
Proportional to like how many people are attending?
The price really depends on a lot of things. You know, if someone's personally booking us for, like, we do covers and we do original music. So first of all, is it an original show or a cover show? If it's a cover show, you know, you're dealing with a certain price range, and that's where the beauty of the negotiation comes in. You know, if a couple are booking us for their wedding, that's different than a corporate client booking us. We know the corporate people. There's 500 people there. You know, we're charging X amount. We're cheaper than the dessert they're serving. You know what I mean? So it's like, you really got to find the balance. I kind of like doing the negotiation stuff. I don't do it anymore, but you know, back in the day, handling a lot of the negotiation was, it's a bit of an art to do that.
You're 4 people in the band, and then there's the manager.
Yeah.
And then there's the guy
Eric
recording us.
Eric.
So you're like 6 people. So are you guys all here in Palm Springs full time?
There's a to answer your question there quickly. We play with people in Canada when we're in Canada, and we also play with certain people here, like a certain lineup when we're here in California.
Nice.
Just also because of visa situation, because like to legally have them come over here, we have to switch up visas and stuff. So
how do you get the visas?
Did
you marry somebody here?
No, well, you know, I do the visa process.
Anyone want to get married? Let me stay down here.
I won't bore you with the process, but due to the fact that there's the AFM, the American Federation of Musicians, if you sign up for the union, they really help you do it. So it's a temporary visa. It's a P2 visa. It's good for the year, and you have to keep renewing it. So bit of a pain.
So you can keep renewing it every year?
As long as you have proof of gigs.
And it's good for the whole year?
It's good for, as long as you have proof of gigs every 45 days.
Well, I'm guessing you need like your insurance in the US and everything else, right?
Yeah, you know, travel insurance. I broke my wrist a couple months ago. That's a whole other thing. I was drumming with one arm for a few months. That was a whole other
How did you break your wrist?
I took him to the skate park.
Took me to the skate park.
We got a little crazy on the ramps. We got a little crazy on the half pipe.
We were on rollerblades because we grew up playing hockey. So we brought our rollerblades down here.
Dude. Yeah. I played hockey my whole life and soccer too.
Oh, us too, man.
Yeah,
nice.
I love sports, man.
You gotta bring the blades and come skate with us over in Palm Springs when
we have extra pair of blades. If you come out, well, we can go blading.
Let's do it, man.
I'm serious.
I've been here for like 2 months.
Yeah.
And
dude, come visit us in the desert,
man. The
man.
exercise I do is just running.
Okay.
But I love hockey, man. I wish I could play.
You mean set up on the tennis court and just play some ball? You can come over to the desert,
man. Yeah. We'll get you guys out there. Both of you.
But we need to visit the place.
Visit. Come. You can stay at our house.
You won't go to I won't take you to the skate park, okay? Unless you have like you're all padded out. Or I don't want this guy to even break.
Because I'm the best skater on flat ground, but as soon as I started going into the half pipes, trying things,
but he was doing good though. As soon as I brought the camera out, this guy turned into freaking Tony Hawk, man. He started good.
Wait, was it your first time in a half pipe?
In a skate park? Yeah, but it wasn't a big half pipe. It was like the small.
It was still a big. It was like what 8-footer half pipe. Like it's not like.
So I was just doing it. You know, I have good balance. I'm a good skater. You know, so.
But he also had like hockey skates. So these things are like freaking like fast as hell.
Hockey blades.
Like up these things. So like it wasn't ideal skates to do it in. Let's just say you had to have been pretty, I don't know, an expert, I guess, at skating to do it right off the bat.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So broke my wrist.
So you just fell in the middle of the half pipe.
Yeah, I just fell like that, and I was like,
such a weird fall. Like, didn't even look like he'd break it. Like he was laughing when he got up, and then all of a sudden,
I still skated around. He left. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna keep going a bit. Anyways, so yeah, that was a whole trip.
And then you add insurance and
traveler's insurance. Thank God, because the bill at the hospital was like $3,000 and they covered it, thankfully. So, but it was a whole thing, and that's, you know, then I had to drum with one arm for like a few months, and that was like took a mental toll. I've never broken a bone in my body, played competitive hockey, and just switching to the one arm. I used both arms for a while, and the doctor's like, it's not healing. So that whole process.
So you play the drums with one arm.
I just had to do it. I was just like. like the whole show, but I filmed it all. I posted it as
I want to see that. That's great.
Yeah, it was cool.
He was getting some respect for it for sure. Yeah. You could not really tell that he has playing with just one arm. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
So it was that was a whole mental thing, these ups and downs of moving here. And that's what people say, when you're in a band or you're trying to make it, people are like, oh, it's a hard road. And I always envisioned that difficulty in different ways. I didn't picture that like the kind of thing where you're driving to a gig and you blow a tire, or something else happens. Like I didn't realize that is what's hard about it. It's these little things, or like you have 5 gigs in a row and 2 of the singers lose their voices. You know what I mean? But you need to do that gig, because if you don't do that gig, the booker from that gig is going to be. So it's like, I don't know if that's the difficult thing, but that's what it's been. I feel
like I even had a moment like this weekend, like myself, you know what I mean? Like a lot of stuff is just going on with this band. You know what I mean? A lot of things internally, externally. And in this case right here, I just, I was tired. I know Johnny, his voice was shot. He wasn't able to sing the night before. And usually I like to fill it out we do harmonies together. We sing a lot together, but he wasn't doing it. He couldn't because his voice, and then the next day he didn't sing that day. He came in the next day. I'm like, can you sing today? He's like, don't try. It's okay. You know what I mean?
Down, yeah.
And then I was tired. Like I felt like I was getting sick. And then I had to do this gig at the casino. And then I knew right after the casino. Yeah.
Oh,
and I knew right after the casino, I had to go play this wedding. And I knew I was not going to get any sleep. I was going to have to go play the following morning at freaking 6:38, whatever. And there was just this moment there where I was just, a lot of it was weighing on me. And I remember just before we went to the gig, I was sleeping because I felt like my body was like kind of like getting run down. I felt my voice was kind of getting shot. And then I forgot my guitar like at the house, and it was just one little thing after the other. And I just remember just like almost like just feeling this moment of just being like overwhelmed. Like, I just punched like my freaking like drum guitar, like drum case, and like just out of like, and I never do that. You know what I mean? I never like,
it gets to a boiling point. Like, it's just
sometimes. It just happened. I'm just the frustration on top of being sick and just feeling like the pressure of like knowing there's going to be a lot of people in front of you and you don't know how you're going to perform is just such like a terrifying feeling sometimes. And it's a feeling that like, I take for granted until it's happening to me. And then I'm like, I'm terrified right now. People are here to see some kind of cool show, and I feel like I can't even fucking get out of bed right now. And I don't even know if my voice is going to work. So it's like little things like that on top of other things can really wear a person down. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I miss sometimes just being able to just punch into work and just doing whatever the hell I had to do and just getting the hell out of there and not having to think about it. I feel like it's always with you when you're like an artist. It's always something, you know what I mean, that's with you. So we're still here. We're still feeling good.
That must be the grind. That must be what people say they go through, because that's at least what we're going through. It's not the Hollywood version of it being difficult. It's like the reality of these little things going, or the visas, did it come in yet? And we got like,
you're booking all these gigs. You don't even know if you're going to be able to play these gigs if the visa got in.
Prime example, we can't even accept money down here. People give us US checks. I have to literally mail it to my brother. He's got to cash it. And then sometimes he doesn't get it. The mail's slow. We need it's just
really,
there's so many things with moving to a new country and being a band and, doing it mostly independent.
Yeah, it's surprising because, the US is so similar to Canada in so many ways. And it's like we're, best friends and
in many ways, but in many ways we're not. It's tough to open a bank account down here, and then every time we got to pull out money because we can't open a business account here yet, we get the conversion fee and then the ATM fee, and then
you can't get ahead, and like it's just
it's hard to get ahead.
Yeah.
So
we should get paid in crypto like Bitcoin or Ethereum.
We talk about that. I'm gladly accepting Ethereum payments for our gigs. We'll give you a discount.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I do it too. Like you can buy all my paintings in Ethereum or Bitcoin on my website.
Do you find a lot of people will pay you in that, or have you had some?
For now, nobody has ever bought a painting using crypto, but dude, it's just a matter of time, and I think everybody should accept crypto like for anything. Like, it's gonna be everything in a few years from now.
Sure.
I mean, it's already like really common, and but yeah, it's a good thing.
Well, and now like slight little segue. I mean, because you're so heavily involved with your NFT project in the space, do you feel like, you know, this is a time for like a band for us? You know, we have some ideas. Do you think this is a good time for people to explore this space and get in?
I think you missed like the first bull run. There is definitely another one coming. So what happened is like similar to what happened with internet. You know, it was this new thing, NFTs and crypto. I mean, crypto has been around for a long time, but especially NFTs. NFTs are really interesting for you guys, for like artists or people who make music. And you missed the first bull run, that's for sure. But there's going to be another one. And just like the internet, when internet became a thing, everybody adopted it. And then it was like this new tech thing, and only a few people were using it and knew how to use it. And then like suddenly 2 million people dropped it.
Someone made it easy for it to understand.
Because in the beginning of internet, there was nothing on the web. You couldn't do anything actually with it. So you would just get internet and you would get on the web. I'm not even sure how you would do that, but there were no websites. There was no search engine.
Oh yeah, the original. Nothing. Yeah, totally.
So I think right now it's the same with NFTs. So a lot of people bought NFTs. They dropped it because like it's not really secure. There's so many scams.
Yeah.
There's so many things to do. So it becomes more mainstream. And there's going to be another bull run. So for you guys, I would say now is the time to build.
Yeah.
And the key players who are still here and who will be here in the next bull run are going to see you guys. And when the next bull run happens, you're going to win everything, win life.
Well, it's interesting you say that though, because yeah, I find like, you know, with the whole internet thing,
but you should, sorry to interrupt, problem. You should watch what Doodles is doing.
Yeah, Doodles.
Because they have Pharrell Williams, who is part of the company. He's one of the employees, I think, one of the founders, not the founders, one of the investors. And they're going to do something around music. So you should check out what they're doing. And I'm pretty sure whatever they're doing, it's going to become like the standard and everybody's going to copy it. So if you can like be the first ones to copy what they're doing, maybe it could be, I'm not big into music NFTs, but there's lots of things happening and you need to watch out because there are big opportunities right now happening, and we're so early. It's time to get in, man.
I agree totally. And like, it was like you said with the internet. I mean, I'm 35. When the internet came out, I was on that as a young kid. And in those days, you viewed it almost as a novelty thing. Oh, I can talk with someone around the world. But there were so many people who were seeing the long-term vision. And that's like NFTs right now. A lot of people just look at it as, oh, they're scams. They're just JPEGs. But it's clear when you spend even just a little bit of time that it's so much more than that. And you can just assign so much value for life. And you're just building these assets for everyone to kind of win, you know, if they believe in you. So, you know, I'm excited. And yeah, like we were saying earlier, you know, we have some ideas because I find like music NFTs, there's no standard for it right now in terms of, you know, profile picture collection, whatever. There's generally accepted things, you know, 10,000. There's certain, you know, parameters, but with music, it's not really like that, and everyone's doing it differently. But we have a little idea, you know, we're working on. We want to kind of get into, I know generative music has been kind of done, you know, but I find it's more in the electronic world, but we want to do it in the like analog world. And that's without getting
what do you mean?
Without getting too into it, I mean, like we want to do just
get into
multiple. I mean, like multiple kind of, you know, recording a song where you can have different versions. You're essentially minting different versions of the song. So there would be like, you know, we would record like maybe like, you know, 20 different drum takes, 20 different bass takes, have different people featured. And we already have the code, you know, it's kind of working right now. So we want to do that for like a next single after this EP. And we're, you know, using a lot of, like ChatGPT. It's helping us write Python code right now, and we're really getting into it. I love
ChatGPT, man.
That thing is like my personal assistant. I know. I'm starting to use it more than Google, which is scary.
I've seen companies who just fired like journalists.
Oh, really?
and they replace them with ChatGPT.
That's crazy.
I see articles like this every day.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's crazy. Especially journalists,
Yeah.
Scary.
like people who create content, and the content involves lots of words or images.
Yeah.
Dude, these people are gonna lose their jobs to ChatGPT and DALL-E and AI and
Everyone, even
all these
musicians,
things, man.
though. I mean, there's going to be algorithms for like hit song licks. There probably already are. But that actually is a nice little segue because
what do you think about it? Do you think it's gonna like affect the music industry in a way that like all the famous people are just gonna be the ones who have access to the best AIs and who can like, because you can ask an AI like create a viral song, based on like recent trends and make it like rock and roll, whatever, and it's gonna create something for you.
Well,
right now, it's probably not available to like the general public, but it's gonna happen. Like at some point, it's gonna be a thing, So what do you think about
we had
that?
like
No, go.
Well, I was going to say, we had like a fascinating chat a couple weeks ago through a friend of ours, Leanne. Big shout outs. She got us to meet a bunch of her kind of AR friends and people in the Web3 and AI like world and augmented reality. And it was just so fascinating to hear like Don Allen III. I don't know if you know Don Allen, but he's always sharing stuff on like, you can literally just create your own avatar that makes music and you don't really have to even be behind it. And it's going to get to the point where you can just, even Bored Ape Yacht Club, like they're doing like Bored Apes are like going to be releasing music and you don't, as soon as you can get the voice to pitch, it's like you're going to have your own singer. You're going to just develop your own kind of asset. And I think that's where, music, no one is safe from AI, but I just think I don't view that in a bad way. You just kind of have to evolve with it. And it's ironic because we're a retro band, quote unquote, but I'm all for pushing the envelope in this space and NFTs, and AI. Like we're fooling around with it. And what we did that was really cool was that someone who's kind of really pushing the envelope, a guy by the name of Lucas Risotto. Do you know who that is?
I'm not sure.
He's got some insane ideas, and he kind of lives in this mansion up in in Beverly Hills, the AR house it's called. And there's a whole bunch of people that live there, and they're just constantly developing, pushing the envelope in this space.
In the NFT space. And AR, I guess.
Yeah. In more like the AR AI space.
Oh, AI. Okay.
And what he did a couple years ago was he got all the Beatles songs and he put them, I guess, in these folders, ran them through AI. I'm sorry, Lucas, if I'm botching this, but he got it to spit out like essentially new Beatles songs, but they're eerie because they're not real lyrics, but they're the voices.
What do you mean? You can't like...
You can, and I'll show you an example later, but you just hear like John Lennon's voice or Paul's voice and with these kind of words. So it's the actual samples of the songs, but it's creating new melodies and things. And he has some on his Instagram page. But what we did, because we got connected to Lucas through our friend Leanne, who works for Meta, we took one of his ideas, we took the melody, and then we ended up developing it into a whole song. So it's essentially almost like what a Beatles song would sound like now, but it was developed, the melodies were all through AI. Whoa. And it's nuts, the kind of stuff.
And even the lyrics
then we did, we wanted to make it all AI. So we then said, we went to ChatGPT and we're like, okay, write Beatles style lyrics for a song about a guy and a girl meeting in like a modern world. Okay, this is whatever, some cheesy thing. It spit out lyrics, we massaged them, and we fit it in with the melody that Lucas created, that the AI that he created of these Beatles songs. And we got this full song out of it, and we're like, this is crazy. Like, this is where it's going.
Hear the song afterwards?
Of course. I'd love to show it to you.
It's crazy, man.
So, it's kind of scary. It's like you don't really know what's coming. But it's fascinating because you're getting these melodies that are like, digitally how John and Lennon and McCartney.
Are you scared or excited by this thing? Like, or do you think you're going to use it as a tool, or more like you're going to be scared of using it, and honestly, you will hate like people using it?
You can't knock the tools. You know what I'm saying? Like there's the tools that I've used to use, like even just coming up with generating lyrics, rhyming dictionary, online, whatever. You're using tools now. No, the question is, how this tool is really, really good. Does it feel like cheating at this point? I don't know. You know, it's like, where do you draw that line, right?
Sorry to interrupt. For Valentine's Day, I wanted to write a poem to my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And ChatGPT did it.
Nice.
Honestly,
And she doesn't know.
We're going to cut this out. You got to cut this out.
I hope she doesn't listen to the podcast.
that's great. And then you designed the actual Valentine on Midjourney, right?
No. I
I'm just
did
kidding.
a real painting on the
Well,
on
that's
the card.
the thing. Even for artists, though, how do you feel about Midjourney?
Yeah, so I think this is weird because, like, let's say I want to. So I was talking about the Stanley painting earlier.
Yeah.
So let's say this guy hires me to make the painting, and I can just train like an AI to replicate paintings in my style.
Sure.
And then I just click a button and I ask it like, do a painting of Stanley in my style, and boom, I have it. And then I can just like copy it. And like, I feel like this is scary. I don't want to do it, but at some point, like if everybody does it, like maybe I'll consider it. But obviously I'm not going to copy it like 100%. And I feel like I shouldn't have said that. I'm not going to copy what AI does, but
No, of course.
It's a tool,
happen,
right? Yeah,
you know,
And
sometimes
it's kind of scary on like, yeah, exactly, like on how deep how it can go. Like for instance, like we put in like, okay, write some lyrics about a love song, about da 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 da. Like you're seeing these lyrics and you got to ask yourself like how much depth there is to it. And I feel like if it can get to the point where like AI is like really like tugging on like my heartstrings, it can write some stuff that is just so like, you know, metaphorical or so touching. And like, if it gets to that kind of scary level, then I'm scared. You know what I mean? I feel like it's like right now I'm at a level from when we've played with it. I'm like, okay, these are good lyrics. What they're doing is like, it's giving me ideas and I can work with them.
Exactly.
But if it's getting to a point where it's like, holy shit, like, you know what I mean? This is like,
and
like this sounds like some kind of like, you know, if it gets to that point, then I feel like my job is over.
But I think it will, and it is. And I think
sure
it comes
will.
down to the prompts you're giving it, right? If you were like, write something deep and profound, and it's going to keep learning and it's going to keep refining, like cut to 10 years from now, it's going to be such a way of life.
Think about 10 years ago when AI became like trending and everybody was talking about it. And then the AI beat this chess player.
Yeah.
And then everybody was like, oh, we're not scared of AI. And like artists and creative people, we were like, oh, we're going to be the last people whose jobs will be like taken by AI, replaced by AI. And now we're like the first people to be replaced by, maybe not the first people, obviously, but one of the first.
Close. Yeah.
But
it's crazy. Like AI can be creative.
But this
is the scary part to me.
But that's like, even with you as an artist, it's like, yeah, you can, you know, that's why I think getting ahead of the curve is like, you can curate the AI to come up with your style of art. And then, you know, through NFTs and digital asset ownership of different things, you know, one would hope that you can still hold on to your style, even though you might not be actually making physical pieces in 20 years, who really knows? But at least hopefully you have ownership of your style, your assets. And I think that's what it's going to be about, is like ownership in the future.
Yeah, exactly. And like, let's say there's a band and everybody knows their songs are written by AI. Like nobody's going to give a shit. But if your songs come from here, from the heart and your experiences and like your personalities, your stories, that's like the real value to like music and bands and
the human element that people
general.
you feel want. But at the end of the day, I don't think like people can't decipher what the human element is anymore. Then that's like where I think it's going to be a little weird, right?
I think
like,
there is going to be
it just sucks that there's just so like, that just sucks. Like, it's this is where the world is going. But like, for instance, like, I mean, how long did it take you to like master your hand when it came to art? You know what I'm saying? And just now knowing that some Prince is going to come right here and just and like make something, if not like equivalent or like better than the songs I've been trying to, you know, write for all my life, because someone can be like, take the theory of like the best top 10 ultimate pop songs of this, you know, decade and write a pop, you know what I mean? It's like, is that easy now? It's just like, it's almost like all the work you've ever done is just completely like,
but I feel like art and music, is gonna be more and more about the people behind the content and the content itself.
I agree.
Because right now, like people like songs because they're good and everything, but when AI can make the best songs, I mean, it's already doing it, but when everybody starts using this, people are gonna start like looking into music more for like the artists themselves than the content. I feel.
I agree with that.
We can't know, you know.
And that's what we were talking about even with some of the people we met, you know, in that meta group a couple weeks ago, is that I think there's going to be a yearning for like the human element, and that's going to come across. Something you can't replicate is a physical human performing or creating something in front of your eyes. So there's going to be the metaverse, all of that stuff, which, you know, I think we want to play into. But, you know, who knows, maybe in 10 years, seeing an artist in person create their artwork is going to be something you cannot replicate. A human being creating, and us playing our instruments. Even now, music, you know, so many bands are playing to a backing track. You know, there's things happening that aren't physically happening on stage. They're playing to a click. We pride ourselves on being totally raw. We're not playing to a metronome. What you hear, what you're seeing is what you hear. And a lot of the people we met were saying, you guys got to play into that even more moving forward. And I agree. I think people are going to yearn for this human element and the person behind it.
And that's what she was saying too. Like our friend who's been really helping us get tapped into that and just performing in general is what she says. She sees us perform and people see us perform. It's like a vibe. It's a feeling in the room. And it's like, and it's, you know, and she states that like, that is something you cannot necessarily mimic as you're an artist. And I guess that's the human element. And if you can combine that and be very vulnerable and true to that, and then maybe people are going to buy into, doesn't matter what you're releasing, whether it's AI, who knows, you know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, I mean, if it gets to the point where we just become replaced and people get the same feeling off like holograms of like, you know what I mean? Then we're in trouble.
Yeah, but imagine you're making money off that, like residuals, because you put all that time into your image, your likeness. Okay, I'm not saying I want to do that. For the record, I want to be playing music, but like, I think, performance art is hopefully never dies.
If I get to sit back and not perform back to back. No, I was just thinking like imagine like the times we're playing, you're saying like people performing and making residuals, and you know, is that the human element taken away, or people are going to love the fact that we just did a show today, did a show the next day, and like and here we are.
But the question is, I mean, we could for the very first time in history, and it's already happening. I saw a documentary on it, like where we can quote unquote live forever, because if you're in the metaverse, whatever it becomes, you know, your image and likeness and your thoughts and how you would respond to things can live forever. The Dreamboats could live forever.
Yeah, exactly.
We could play
forever. Have you seen this guy, Sam Altman, the founder of OpenAI, and he's the chairman of Y Combinator. Anyways, this guy, when he actually hired a company to kill him before he dies, and to transfer his thoughts in like a robot, like an AI, so he can live forever in the cloud.
Yeah, that's crazy. Deepak Chopra is doing that too, and this documentary where it has him, and he's like, I want to be able to have my great grandkids come and talk to me, and I can offer the advice that I would give, and it just nuances everything. So it's crazy, and like that's what I'm talking about. Like long term, imagine we're 90 years old and the Dreamboats are still performing in some capacity. It could be in the metaverse, but I'm talking like you as close to your likeness. I'm not talking like a cartoony like avatar. I'm talking like you know, and your family would have the rights to you. You would be an NFT, like your image and likeness. And anytime you're shown somewhere, your family would get residuals. Like that's really like long-term stuff.
That's the end game. We all end up being NFTs.
We're gonna get so much hate from the music community because it's really tough to convince people. That's another thing. I don't want to convince people, but when you hear the word NFT, especially in the music scene, everyone's like scam right away. And it's a shame because I think eventually
it's going to change. If you think, going back to my comparison with internet, when internet became a thing, like nobody would put their credit card number on internet. Everybody was scared of it, or even like people were scared of sharing photos of themselves.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And even, like especially their kids, and now like everybody is on social media, everybody's face is everywhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So same thing is gonna happen with NFTs. It's the same pattern we're seeing right here.
I agree, and the term might change. They might not use the word NFT. That could be a little.
I hope
dated.
It changes, because I think just the word is scary, because like it's an acronym, and even when you know what the acronym means, you don't really understand what it is, like non-fungible token. What is that?
Yeah.
No idea.
So people are scared of this new technology, and I think the word is not helping.
Yeah, and especially the headline news paints a weird picture, and understandably so. There are so many scams. Having been in it, and really, since 2021, I know that was kind of, but really seeing all the scams, and I've been in so many projects like just rug pulls, and you spend money, and then it's just the whole Discord shuts down. It's like, that's a reality, but it's the Wild West, and you got to take some risks. And I'm excited to be learning this. I'm excited to take the Dreamboats in that direction, but not for a quick buck. I'm talking to actually do something that's like cool, and it gets people excited, and gets people ultimately though to know about our band. That's what you want to do. You want people to know about you, the artist, and what you do. I would imagine,
I think I have an idea for you guys. It might be a dumb idea, but here it is. So I've seen an artist, like a painter, and she does collabs with AI. So the AI does like something, and she builds on top of it, and then she uses it to make her painting. But I've never seen, maybe somebody has done it, but nobody has heard of it. But I've never seen like artists, like a band, do a collab with AI. So, it could be like the AI does some lyrics or just a little part in the music. And then I think if you do that, maybe it's a bad idea. I don't know.
No, that's kind of like the Beatles thing I was telling you. It was like, we didn't create the AI. That was Lucas, but he just had all these, like, they're in a folder of all these like Beatles AI created melodies. Yeah. And it was like, we literally took the melody and completed it. And then, like we said, we used ChatGPT. We're like, write a Beatles style song. So wrote the lyrics.
So maybe you can just rephrase what you did by saying like, I did a collab with AI or something.
Yeah, exactly. No, that you're absolutely right. And it was like when we did that Beatles thing, like we took a second. Yeah, we took a second.
Because I feel like this could go a long way. Like all the news outlets would pick it up.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm not from this industry, but
no, but you're absolutely right, and that's what we're thinking about. We're always talking, especially with Eric, our videographer, who's pretty heavy into the crypto and NFT space. Shout outs to Eric off camera. Like we really see that you kind of want to be the first band to do it, and like I said, even with generative music, so many electronic artists do it, but I don't see any bands do it, let alone a niche band like us. So we're really excited. Like we're next week, we want to get in the studio and really start, because we've done some tests, and it's sounding cool, like coming up with unique releases for music. It's cool. That's what gets me excited right now. We're playing gigs and we're dealing with all these problems, but the one thing is that I feel like we're connecting with cool people like you, and like with this whole team we met, Lucas, Don Allen, Leanne Barron. It's just cool. It's cool to be a part of this, coming from a niche band like us.
I'm sure, man.
Yeah.
So, it's been an hour. So normally this thing lasts an hour, and then that's it. I have a few more questions. I think this conversation is really interesting. Especially, I love AI and NFTs.
Me too.
Crypto. So it's really interesting. So in the beginning, like when you started, you were booking shows and gigs by like word of mouth, especially. But now, like, social media is so powerful. And how do you use like social media to get gigs nowadays? And does it work for you guys?
I think, just honestly, just promoting, just keeping active as much as you can. I feel like a lot of the people.
Do you get a lot of gigs from social media, or
it's like the modern
word of mouth?
It's kind of, I find like social media is almost like word of mouth. It's modern day word of mouth. Like, for example, we played our friend's wedding, and she had someone there who does portraits of the bride and groom in real time.
You
know what I'm talking about?
I've seen a girl do it on TikTok. Maybe it's not her.
It might not be, but this girl was at the wedding, and she, took a video of us and then shared us on her story and followed us. And then it's like immediately we just saw all these likes. And then, someone in the past, people reached out to us from that. So it is kind of the word of mouth. And that's what I find about being in California, is that you might get influencers in Canada or Toronto, but out here, it's like you never know who's watching and the influence.
I think online, like so many people are really good at painting a reality online that's very glamorous, and we're not good at that. I'm just joking.
We're reality.
We're reality as it comes. And I feel like a lot of the people that have gravitated towards like booking us or like wanting to come see us has been literally them just being like, I saw you at this. I don't know who the hell you were. I saw you at this gig and we really enjoyed you and we're going to be fans from you from now on. Or a friend has just seen us and just been like, you got to check out this band. And that's been like the real word of mouth to me. And I think just once you're on and just keeping engagement is like the tool for online. But we were very grassroots in the sense of like promotion all the way to just like all of our followers. We don't got a gazillion, but I'll tell you the ones that do follow us, they followed us because they really just genuinely enjoyed what we've done on stage, not necessarily being like, oh, these guys look like they have a couple cool clips online. Like it's usually like they see us play live and that's been it. That's that human element.
But we need to inject it. We need to do some injection. You know, we got to be doing more content tailored for that because we're such a live band and that's becoming old school now. You know, it's like we always joke around. It's like, you don't even need to be a gigging band. I could start a TikTok band. You know, we talk about that all the time. We're just like, I want to do a TikTok band that does, old 1940s country covers and that's it. And you just do it and you're a band and then you blow up and maybe you tour or you don't. You don't even need to be out there. So we're old school in that sense. And we're trying to get modern on social media. Although I feel like at this point, we're just going to skip social media and go right to the Web3 stuff.
Well, it's just like, some of our favorite artists that we know just like started off young and just wrote some great songs, catchy songs, and then released them online and then didn't even sweat once on stage. You know what I mean? Or maybe, and then they have such a huge following. And then once you have that huge following online, then you can say, I'm playing in your city next to a week, come to my concert. And people just go and they buy tickets to your concert. And that's how it's kind of how you have that ability to do that now. The modern day.
What's crazy with like TikTok and YouTube Shorts and all these things is like everybody is like one video away from going super viral.
Yeah.
And like, you guys, maybe you're going to create this super viral video tomorrow. Nobody knows. So, and I think you have the talent and everything that comes with it to be successful. So
thank you, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks.
man.
But,
so I think we're going to wrap it up.
Sure.
I have like one last question. And then if you want to promote anything, just say it. So you're called the Dreamboats. And what's your dream with like this band? Like where do you see yourself in like, I don't know, 5-10 years from now? What's the big goal here?
I just want to become like I don't know. I my big goal, if I was to just, I'd be happy with is if like, it's years from now and my daughter just, when in her like teens or like her, she's just proud of me. Just said like my dad, he gave it his all. He had some pretty cool
stuff. Here in Palm Springs?
She's in town as well with her mom. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
And they're coming to visit and hopefully can keep them here as long as I can, but yeah, just that's my goal. Whether I make $1 gazillion in the process, as cheesy as this sounds, I just want to just be able to feel like I want to make like my family proud. And that'd be like my dream. Man. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And he works really hard too. I feel like for me, I want to be known around the world. Like when people think of retro, I want them to think of the Dreamboats. And so young and old, like I feel like in many ways we're kind of, and we've been told from some of our mentors that, we're carrying the torch, keeping this music alive and making it more digestible for like a new generation to discover, because we grew up with our parents, we're from that era, but now you have like an 18-year-old, they're not really exposed to this. And we want to just show them that this is like where all modern music came from. This is like true passion and energy. And this was when a time when bands used to be on stage and they don't need all the flashing lights, but you could just entertain and be charming and chat to the crowd and kind of carry yourself. And I feel like essentially I'd like that to be amplified across the world so that everyone kind of knows and we can connect with as many people that love this music as much as we do. That's my goal.
What I hope is, when AI becomes really powerful and everybody can create like viral songs, I hope people realize like all the videos online are fake and people just shut it down and go out and go listen to gigs because that's the real life, man. That's the virtual, like that's the metaverse. This is all fake, man. The real life is here right now and everybody is missing it, man.
It's stimulating.
Because social media is too addicting, I guess.
Yeah,
It is. You know, but I agree with you. I think people, you know, are going to start yearning for that. Eventually, it might not be anytime soon, but at some point, I think people are going to know. And in many ways, we are, you know, potentially some of the last generations that, you know, will even drive.
I see a clip of a woman sleeping behind the wheel of her Tesla there online the other day. That's awesome.
So anything you want to share with people listening?
I mean, you know, like we said, we have our EP coming out, Sweet Nothings EP. That's going to be really cool. We're excited for that. And then, you know, for anyone who kind of wants to follow along with what we've been doing, we have our videographer, Eric. He's been documenting this whole process on our YouTube series called Keep It Dreamy. They're half-hour episodes. And
I watched one, like really, I was skimming through it, but it's good, man. You have some really good talent.
We're trying because, you know, that's for me, whenever there's a down or something, we take a blow or some kind of hit to the band. I'm like, well, it's okay. As long as we're covering it and documenting it, it's good content. Like that's how I justify all the ups and downs here. So it's been a really cool series. So if you're curious to know about what we're doing, keep it dreamy. The next episode is going to be, it could be potentially a bit of an emotional one. We're in the middle of editing it right now. I'll leave it at that though.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to our EP. And also, if you get a chance, check out our latest music video that we just released off our Back to the Start EP. This song entitled "Lights Down Low," featuring the lovely Miss Tina Turntables from the Coachella Valley.
I've seen the video clip. The silhouette.
It's steamy.
Black.
Yeah.
That's steamy.
That's her.
That's steamy. The female sweetheart in that video is Tina, and I'm the dark silhouetted nervous wreck behind the lens. But yeah, check that out. Lights Down Low. It was released just a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Richie. Thanks, Johnny.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Peace
Matt.
out.
Stay tuned.